One of the biggest questions I've been asked over the past few months is, once a client pays and signs for a project, how do we now onboard, deliver, and hand off the actual system? Which is exactly why in this video, I'm going to walk you through my complete 6-step delivery framework that we've used, showing you how to onboard clients professionally, set proper expectations, communicate during the project, how to create professional documentation, and how to turn that one client into multiple projects through upsells and retainers. And in case you don't know who I am, my name is Michele, and I've scaled my own AI agency to 6 figures, working with over 50 businesses to implement AI solutions and teaching over 20,000 people in the process, all starting with zero technical knowledge. With that being said, let's dive in. All right, so before we jump into the actual 6-step framework, there's something really important I need you to understand. Because you see, most people think that delivering an AI project just means that you build the thing and you hand it off. But that's exactly why they mess up. They lose clients and they lose the potential of having referrals, repeat business, and to have retainers. Because the reality is that delivering an AI project really starts from the moment that you get the payment for the project to the moment that they actually start using the system and they tell the friends about you. So here's the complete 6-step framework that we're going to be talking about today. Step 1 is payment and proposal signed. Step 2 is the onboarding call. Step 3 is working on the project with progress updates. Step 4 is testing the system. Step 5 is documentation and delivery. And step 6 is handoff and asking for referrals. Now I'm going to walk you through everything step by step, showing you exactly what to do, what to say, but also how to look professional the entire way through. All right, so step 1 is very straightforward, and it's you making sure that the client has paid before you start any work. Now, I know this sounds very obvious and you're like, duh, of course, but the amount of people like myself, even when I'm starting out, that start the project before they get payment is insane. Because what happens is that they will forget, they will delay it, they will ghost you, and then you have spent 3, 6, 10, 15 hours for something that you pretty much didn't get paid for to do. And this is the exact thing that I had to go through at the start, right? Because I was super excited about having the positive opportunity and I forgot about the most important step, which is the payment, right? And so I made a rule from then on, which is no payment, no work, period. Now, depending on how you structure your pricing, which could be 50% upfront and 50% after completion, or 100% upfront, it doesn't matter, right? Just make sure that you get your first payment before you start doing any work. Now, it is also possible that you will be working for free when you're starting out, right? So if you're doing this for free, just make sure that you have outlined what you are going to be given to them, what done looks like, meaning, hey, what is a project? When does it end, right? So then be able to have what you give them in a very clear way and what they give you in exchange for your work in a very clear way as well, to make sure that everything is outlined and there's no problems when you get to the end. Now, once the payment is confirmed, we go to step 2, which is the onboarding call. And this step right here is by far one of the most important in the whole delivery process, because you set expectations, but you also get everything that you need to be able to deliver the project. So here's all the things you have to cover on the onboarding call. The first thing is you want to set expectations on timeline. So you need to tell the client how long it's going to take. And I completely recommend breaking down the project into different milestones. So for example, you might say, hey, this project is going to be taking 4 weeks total. Week 1, we're going to finish the setup and integrations. Week 2, we're going to be building the core automation. Week 3, we're going to be testing. And week 4, we're doing the final tweaks and handing it off. This way, the client knows exactly what's happening and when, and they're not just sitting down wondering whether you're actually doing the work. And one of the biggest things that we also did with our clients is we always underpromised and overdeliver. And in this context, if we thought that a project was going to take 3 weeks, right, we usually added 1 to 2 weeks extra, right, to give us more breathing room, but also so that if we told them it's going to take 5 weeks and we deliver it in 3, then we're over delivering and we have a much higher chance to get referrals, to get testimonials, and to actually retain them longer. The second thing you want to do is you want to set expectations on availability. You need to tell them when you are available to speak. So are you available 9 to 5? Are you available within 24 hours? Are you available only on weekends? When is that time frame? So just be clear about it, because if they expect you to respond immediately and you don't, then you look very, very unprofessional. But if you tell them upfront, hey, I will respond to you within 24 hours on a weekday, then they know what to expect. The third thing you want to do is you want to set up the communication channel. Now, this is important because this is going to be the place where you're going to be communicating with the client throughout the whole project. So don't email them, DM them on Instagram, text them on Slack, and text them on WhatsApp all at the same time, because that is a complete mess. Just pick one platform. I usually like to do WhatsApp or Slack. I don't like emails because it gets lost, right? So I personally like those two, but listen to the client, listen to what they like. If they use Slack, then feel free to use Slack. I just use WhatsApp because it's free, it's very easy, and you can also have all your chats in one place. So just make sure you choose one channel and you stick to it. And the fourth and last thing you want to do on the onboarding call is get all the software access that you need. Now this right here is one of the most important steps on the onboarding call, and it's making sure that you know that you cannot go off that call if you don't have everything that you need in terms of softwares and tools to be able to build the actual system that you're building. And now you might be asking yourself, who owns what software? Who's paying for what software? But also, how do we go around making the actual accounts? Now, here's the way that I like to think about it. There are occasions where you might want the access of the N10 account, and there are occasions where you just simply want the client to have access to their own N10 account. It's not simply one or the other. So here's how I break it down. If you're building something inside of N10, a simple automation, a simple system, you want the client to make their own N10 account, and you want the client to pay for all the APIs and all the softwares that you need to be able to build the automation. So what you would do in the onboarding call is you will tell them, hey, can you please share your screen? Can you go to N810? Can you make an account? And can you then go to settings and then add me as a user in your account so I can access their account through my account. This works because they have control of the actual account. At the same time, if you need API access to OpenAI or Claude or Gemini or whatever it is, really, any other software, you want to go to that specific software and you want to make them get the API key, pay for it, and then they give you the API key so you can use it in the automation. All to say that in that instance, you want the client to have access to the N10 account and pay for all the APIs and softwares. And the reason we do that is because you want the client to have control over everything that we are building for them. Because God forbid anything happens to you, you want the automation to be stored on their account so they can manage it and host it. Now, this way that I walked you through is probably the most popular way when it comes to building automations in N10 and having the client host it and pay for all the softwares. There's also the other side, right? And the other side is, let's say you're building a voice agent for a client. The voice agent has a fixed fee at the start, so they pay you for the implementation. And then they also have a monthly retainer, and we put that retainer in place so you maintain the voice agent over time and you make sure that it gets better, and you listen to the calls and make sure that you change the prompt and change the automations in case anything breaks. And so when I charge a retainer for a client for a voice agent, obviously it doesn't happen often, but what's stopping the client from just going to Upwork and paying someone $2 per hour to maintain the voice agent rather than paying us a retainer to maintain it for them? Which is why we like to create dependency on the client. And that way we have all our clients in our own self-hosted account, also because the pricing is very, very good, very, very cost effective over time. And also because then the client is incentivized to be able to pay the retainer over time for us to maintain it without them having to host it or use someone else. Now, this has worked really, really well as well for us and our clients who are building voice agents for clients, but also because the self-hosting process is quite a bit longer than just making an N10 account on the web. And because clients are not technical, then it takes a lot longer in terms of setting everything up. Even if you self-host your own N10 account and you build all the automations there, you still want to make sure that they pay for, let's say, retail. They pay for Twilio. They pay for OpenAI. They pay for Claude. They pay for all these things, but you host the automations in your account because for you, obviously it's free. So make it easy for them and go through everything step by step and make sure that you have all the softwares that you need to be able to deliver before you jump off that call. Once you've done all that, now we go to step 3, which is working on the project with progress updates. All right, so now you're actually going to be building the automation. And this is the part where people mess up, not because they don't know how to build, but it's because they don't know how to communicate. Because if the client doesn't get progress updates as to how the project is going, they don't know as to whether you're actually building the thing or you're just sitting down watching Netflix at home. So what we do is that we give progress updates, and I recommend giving it to them every single week. So every week you want to send them a message and say something like this. Hey client, just wanted to give you a quick update. We've just finished milestone 1, which is setting up all the integration. Next week, we're moving into milestone 2, which is building the core automation. Everything is on track, and I'm excited to show you what we're building. That's it. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to be an update to show what you're working on. And here's why this is important. Because this increases the perceived likelihood of achievement for the work that you're doing, which means that the client's perception of them getting the outcome is higher because they are being kept in the loop and they feel like they actually spend money towards a good thing that is giving them a good return on the investment. On the other hand, if you go silent for the whole way until you deliver the actual thing for the client, then the client's perception of getting the outcome is not high and they will just be thinking, what were you doing the whole time? So send weekly updates. It literally takes 2 minutes, but it makes a huge difference. Now that you're sending weekly updates when you're building, we can go to step 4, which is going to be testing the automation. All right, so now you've built the actual system and now you have to test it. And I mean, really test it. Now this right here is probably the most important step in the entire process, because if you do everything that we mentioned so far up until this point and you deliver the thing for the client and it doesn't work, you've basically destroyed the whole trust you've built all along. So here's exactly how you test it. First, run the automation end to end. Don't just test individual steps. Test everything from the start until the end to make sure that it flows through every single time. If it's an email automation, send an email and make sure that it goes all the way through. If it's a lead capture automation, make sure you fill out the form and make sure that all the steps after the form are filled are working properly. And if it's an AI agent that you're building, ask it a bunch of questions and make sure that it responds in the way that it's supposed to. The second thing is test every possible scenario. Don't just test the happy scenario, the happy path, the dream case, right? Test what happens when the automation goes wrong. What happens if someone fills out the form incorrectly? What happens if the API fails? What happens if the AI does not understand your question? You need to stress test the whole system to make sure that you're covering all the edge cases across the whole automation to make sure that it doesn't break. The third thing is test it multiple times. Don't just run it once and say, okay, cool, it works. Run it across 5, 10, 20, even 30 times if you have to. Because sometimes things work the first time, but not the second time. And that leads to inconsistency. And if you've been building automations with AI, you know that consistency is one of the most important things, if not the most important thing when it comes to building the automation and making sure that it's actually production ready and scalable. So if something doesn't work, don't hand it off to the client. Fix it before you give it to them, because then you look professional and things don't actually break when they're testing it. Once you've tested it and you're confident that it works, you can go to step 5, which is documentation and delivery. All right, so now the automation is built and tested. This is the part where you deliver it to the client. So the thing you cannot do here is build a thing and then tell them, hey, here it is, and let them figure it out how it works and all the steps in between. You need to create a proper documentation and showing them exactly how it works. So the first thing is record a Loom video. So Loom is a platform that I use every single day that allows you to record the screen and your face at the same time. And this is perfect for creating video documentation. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna open up the automation inside of N10. You're gonna hit record on Loom and you're gonna walk through the whole automation step by step. Explain to them what the automation does, show them how it works, and show them how to make changes if they need to, and show them what to do if something goes wrong. Now here's the key. Don't make this video about you. Don't say, hey John, it was great working with you, XYZ. Instead, make it generic so they can share it with their whole team. Say something like, hey, the purpose of this video is to act as a documentation for company names team. I'm gonna walk you through how this automation works and how to use it step by step. That way they can send the video to anyone on their team and it's still useful. Second is turn the Loom video into a written documentation. Now you can do this manually or you can use AI to speed it up. So you can either take the transcript of the video, put it through ChatGPT and ask it to give you a full SOP documentation, or you can use the AI feature that Loom has, which by the way is only for paid plans, but you can go to AI and it pre-builds the whole SOP documentation for you, even with images. That way you have 2 deliverables, which is a video and a written documentation, because people like to absorb knowledge in 2 different ways. Some are more visual learners, some like to watch videos, some like to read. And that makes you look a lot more professional rather than just handing them a link. The third thing you want to do is send the delivery email. Now you are going to be sending them an email with everything that they need. And here's a template that you can use. Hey name, I'm excited to let you know that project name is complete and ready to use. Just so you and your team know exactly how all of this works, I've put together 2 things for you. A video walkthrough showing you exactly how the automation works and how to use it, Loom link. A written step-by-step guide with screenshots, Google Doc link. Everything is set up and tested and it's ready to go live. If you have any questions or need any tweaks, just let me know. Also, I've submitted the final invoice for the remaining 50% of the project. You can pay that here, payment link. Thanks again for trusting me with this project. I had a great time working on it. Talk soon. Michele. And also we add a PS at the end of the email, which I'm going to walk you through in the next step. But you see how that all works now? You give them an email with everything that they need to be able to use the system and know exactly how everything works. Once you send that email, you're ready for the final step, which is step 6, delivery, handoff, and maximizing client value. Now, here's the thing. Most people deliver the actual automation and then they ghost, they disappear. But that's a huge mistake, because if you've done a good job and the automation works as expected, they now trust you. And so take that trust and turn it into more business or a long-term partnership. The first thing is send a delivery email with the opportunity of an upsell. Now, you already saw the delivery email that we sent earlier, but here's where you're gonna add at the end of the email. PS, I noticed while working on this project that there are probably other areas in your business where AI could help. What I'd love to do is offer you a free business audit where we can map out other processes and identify opportunities to implement AI. No obligation, just wanna make sure that you're getting the most value possible. Let me know if you'd like to hop on a quick call to discuss this. So what we're doing here is we're planting a seed to be able to add more value to their business, solve more problems, and make more money with them. Now, not every client is gonna take this on, but the ones that do typically turn out to be the best clients because they see the value in the work that you provide for them. The second is understand the difference between recurring revenue and reoccurring revenue. Now, this difference is important because a lot of people think that a client should be and must be on a monthly retainer, but that's not always the case. So for example, let's say you're working with a roofer and you've built an inbound receptionist for this roofer and you charged, let's say 3K. Now, you also saw that he runs Facebook ads, that he doesn't reply to leads within 5 minutes. And because now you've solved one more problem, you have made more money instead of just saying, goodbye, I'll see you soon. And so the aim here is to solve as many problems as possible as you can for that specific client and provide as much value as possible to then increase the LTV, the lifetime value of that customer. Because it is much better to have one client that pays you 10K across, let's say 10 months, rather than having 10 clients that pay you 1K. Because let me tell you what, if you work with a client for that long and the LTV is high and they already trust you, they're gonna be referring you a lot more people. Now, the other side is recurring revenue. Recurring revenue is the monthly retainers. So for example, if you sell a voice agent to a business for, let's say, 5K, then what you're going to do is charge them a retainer on that specific service that you're doing, which typically is 20% of the implementation fee. So 20% of 5,000, that's going to be about 1K every single month. And that right there is to maintain the system, to provide support, and make sure that everything runs smoothly and is scalable long term. Now, this works because the client knows that if anything breaks, you're there to fix it, and they're willing to pay for that peace of mind. So when should you use one over the other? Well, if you're building an email AI agent, for example, that handles emails for a client, charging a $50 retainer is just simply not worth it. What you're much better off doing is trying to maximize the LTV for the client, maximize the amount of money that you can make per client by solving more problems inside their business. And so that's exactly how you can deliver, you can hand off, and you can maximize the amount of money that you can make per client. Because the difference between an AI agency that's struggling and one that is successful isn't about how many clients you take on. It's about how much money and value that you extract from each client that you work with. Because if you're doing one project for one client and that's it, and you leave it off, you're leaving a lot of money on the table. But if you focus on delivering the best experience possible for the client, offering business audits, upselling on new projects, and building long-term relationships, you can easily 5x or even 10x your revenue per client. And that's how you build a real business, not by trying to find 100 more clients, but it's about finding those 10 clients that pay you over time and you can solve more problems with. And that's how a real business is built, not by chasing new clients, but by maximizing the amount of value that you get per client. Because the best clients that we have are the ones that we have solved more problems for and the ones that have the highest trust in us. All right, so that right there is my full AI agency onboarding and delivery process that I'm sure that if you follow, you'll be able to get referrals, you retain them longer, and you actually get results. Now, if you want a full breakdown of this process with templates and checklist, I'm going to leave a link in the description to my free school community. You can go to the Classroom section, go to the templates vault, and you'll find everything here. Just a heads up that not everybody gets in, so please put some thoughts into your answers when you apply. And if you want to work with me one-to-one to be able to start and scale your own AI agency within 90 days in a one-on-one mentorship program, then check the first link down below. And if you like this video, then check out this video up here where I show you the 6 real skills that you need to have to be able to start your own AI agency in 2026. With that being said, I really hope you found value from this video, and I'll see you in the next one.